Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Reddit Aliens. I am John, and as always, thank you so much for being here. Fun topic today? Let's do it. Who was the worst kid from your high school, and what made them so bad? Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. There was a kid who walked up to the pencil sharpener and set the substitute teacher's hair on fire from behind her with a cigarette lighter, and then claimed sparks had flown out of the light switch. Yeah, he's in prison for other stuff now. Not me, but my daughter and her female friends in ninth grade. There was a boy who was disturbed, who was making threats to the girls in his classes. Things like he was going to strangle them, or them, knife them, all sorts of things. The girls told me he had photos of dead animals he'd killed, like kittens or a dog. I don't remember the specifics. Anyway, for whatever reason, my daughter felt like telling me about it for the first time well into the school year, like in November or so. I had no idea this was going on until then. I called the teacher first, who was a man, and he was afraid of this kid. Teacher said to call the principal and gave me his number. Principal said, and I quote, "Lady, I have 1,200 students to deal with on a daily basis. I can't be worried about whether your daughter is safe at school," which was the wrong thing to say, because it obviously pissed me off. He said that he put this kid and my daughter alone in a room and told them to essentially kiss and make up. Called the superintendent next, who was incredibly bowled over by the incompetence of the principal. He told me to call the police, which was too late because I had already taken my daughter and 3 of her friends to the police to make reports and file for a restraining order. The next day, the principal called to apologize from the phone in the superintendent's office. The kid was removed from the classes with all of these girls, which was next to impossible, and less than a week was removed from the school. I think my daughter said that he's in prison now. Bullied other kids mercilessly, stole cigarettes and alcohol from shops to sell to other kids for cash he'd used to buy weed, him and his shitbag mates. A few years after high school, him and 2 of his closest mates were hooning in their shitbox on the highway, playing chicken. It was nighttime, and they had their lights turned off, and they were driving on the wrong side of the road with the intent to make other people flinch and dodge before they had to. Other driver didn't even know they were there and just drove a straight path. So because of that, the other driver obviously didn't dodge or deviate, forcing them to flinch, and they dodged off the side of the road right into a huge gum tree. All 3 killed instantly. 140 plus kilometers per hour impact on a hardwood tree. Small rural area, so the whole town grieved over the tragic loss of 3 young lives, but single kid who grew up around them knew better than to call it a tragedy. Bogan shitbags. Glad the other driver didn't see them and suffer their fate. Gladder that they're gone. Swerved off a residential road at 50 miles per hour to try and run down one of the kids he bullied because he thought doing so would impress the girls he had riding in the car with him. Instead, plowed into a brick wall at 50 miles per hour. And because he wasn't wearing a seatbelt, because doing so was for pussy cowards, an exact quote from him, according to later testimony, he went through the windscreen, soared across the front garden of the house, whose wall he hit the front wall of the house, and turned from a full human being into paste. The girl in the front passenger seat had every bone from her midsection down irreparably shattered because she had her feet up on the dashboard and is in a wheelchair. The girl in the back passenger seat cracked open her skull in the seat in front of her, was in a coma for like 2 years, and has permanent brain damage. Bastard ruined 2 people's lives because he thought vehicular manslaughter would land him a threesome. It's a shame that a lot of these are about car accidents and reckless driving. Doesn't always have to be the worst kid, but it's a shame. Not the worst student, but craziest thing to happen was freshman year. This kid got caught using a keylogger to steal teachers' gradebook logins to sell grade changes. He was also stealing credit card info. Kid got expelled and sent a revenge PPT to every student, teacher, and alumni from a random kid's email address that had photoshopped pictures of all the teachers and administrators in gangbangs and onto bestiality porn. Ran into him a few years ago, and he actually graduated Harvard. and is in real estate now. A boy I went to middle school with was constantly in trouble. He'd sit in every class just thinking of ways to disrupt it. The teacher sat him by me because supposedly I kept him in line. He was so young, but already doing drugs and drinking. His final straw was he broke a girl's tailbone, giving her a corn dog, which is where you come up behind someone and knee them in the butt. He was expelled, but came back late in high school. He was clean and sober and an angel. We actually talked it out and had a class together that I thoroughly enjoyed having him in. Today he's an advocate for addicts and in general spends his life helping others get better. Very proud of him. This kid was a few years younger than me. He clearly has some issues. They put all the troublesome kids in the theater department with us, and so we got to see a lot of his shit firsthand. He would just destroy things. Like he would rip wooden panels off the side of the stage if you didn't stop him. After I graduated, he came to school with a gun in his backpack and a hit list. No one was hurt, thank God. He posted about it on Facebook, and if I remember correctly, someone reported it, and he was met by cops as soon as he walked into the school. The worst kid in middle school was unfortunately a bit obsessed with me. He would walk up behind me and touch my hair. It was awful. He kept writing me love notes and begging me to give him a chance. Summer break hit, and the next year he'd forgotten about me. He was expelled for looking up porn in the computer lab. Before that, though, we were in the same standardized testing classroom, and he got suspended for JOing, and according to the girl next to him, self-harming with a pair of safety scissors. The worst was probably a group of lads that were known bullies. They were vile to anyone who did fit what they deemed attractive, despite being utter munters themselves. Unfortunately, they targeted me. I was their main target the second I started high school. They were the year above me, and I had to be homeschooled because of them. They would kick me, punch me, spit at me, rip up my workbooks, kick footballs at my face, shout vile stuff, and the worst, and the thing that forced me into being homeschooled, was they pushed me down a set of concrete stairs. I knew it was caught on CCTV, but the school couldn't find that 2-minute bit, but found the footage from the entire rest of the day. The ringleader, Ashley, was the worst. I went home that day with blood covering my white blouse from a nosebleed and split lip, had bruises all down my back where he'd kicked me at the bottom of the stairs, and from falling down the stairs in a black eye. Ashley found it hilarious, and the school stood by his side. It wasn't until I threatened to go to the police when the school magically found the 2-minute bit of CCTV and admitted he was in the wrong, and gave me the most pathetic apology I've ever heard. He got a week of isolation. I took it further, well, my parents did, and the school ended up being found at fault for blaming me and not dealing with the bullying from the start. They had 63 complaints from the 2.5 years I was there and did nothing. They ended up having to pay for my homeschooling tutors and deal with and process all my schoolwork until I finished at 16. Ashley ended up killing himself by driving way too fast on his motorbike down a dual carriageway and hitting a tree. There was a massive remembrance thing for him, but I was just glad he was dead. He could have easily killed me that day. I'll never ever forgive him, his gang of dipshits, or the school for what I went through. Even now at 27, I'm scared to go near men alone other than my partner. It's terrible that you went through that, and at least the school was held somewhat accountable. Again, I don't like to celebrate the death of anyone, but, I could understand, so sorry that happened. My grade 9 science teacher, ironically to this story, named Mr. Calm, had an infant son who died 2 weeks into the school year. He took at least a month off to grieve. When he returned, the resident class clown was up to his usual tricks, basically just trying to be as distracting as he could be. Finally, Mr. Calm had enough and told the kid to sit down and shut up. The kid then said, "It's a good thing your baby died young. Would have been a terrible life with you for a father." Mr. Calm snapped, picked up the kid's desk with him in it and threw it. Poor Mr. Calm got fired for this, no way. Every other student who was there tried to defend our teacher, saying the kid got what he deserved, but nothing we said made a difference. Nothing happened to the kid. Still makes me angry to think about, and that was in 1994. Guy was caught a couple times drinking in the bathroom. His dad dragged him out and beat the shit out of him in front of the school. Felt kind of bad after that. After we graduated, he had killed a guy who was helping him get clean from heroin, I assume. He stole the guy's credit card and went to Walmart to buy an Xbox or something. Messed up thing was, a friend and I saw him at that Walmart afterwards and played Guitar Hero with him and his buddy. They were acting really weird, said they got some money and were going to go buy Guitar Hero. One of the rich family's kid was just 100% incapable of driving safely at all. We're talking at the age of 16, has already totaled 3 cars. His parents kept giving him new ones, not cheap ones either. Acura RSX, VW Golf, Subaru WRX. The VW and Acura, he did nothing but crash them into trees while he had his driving permit, not even a license. The first WRX, he had a passenger in it and decided to hit another tree. Passenger broke his neck but was fine. 3 months later, parents got him his second WRX. Was doing 70 plus in a 45 back road with 2 girls in the car. Swerved to avoid a truck pulling into a road, clipped the back corner, spun the car sideways, and got T-boned by a box truck U-Haul. Everyone died. It was sad, but I'm more outraged at his shitty parents. I went to a small school, so we did not have the extreme cases, but there was a guy who bullied pretty much every other male student who wasn't an athlete, or who was slightly a hype masculine douche bro as him. He got all the girls, was good at all sports he tried, dealt drugs, was caught multiple times with drugs at school but skated by because his parents were rich and close with all the teachers. Would take teachers out to dinner and weekend trips, etc., probably to pad grades or resume or recommendation letters. He flunked out of college his freshman year and died of a fentanyl overdose when he was 19. We all had to pretend we were sad about it. To us high schoolers, we loved the kid, but the school principal thought otherwise. On our last day before graduation, the kid brought in a big box of mini bouncy balls, pickup jacks, one's size of a quarter, and poured them out downstairs from the top floor during the last lunch break. The entire staircase was filled with them. People were still able to go up and down the stairs because every student was grabbing as many as they could. The reason why was because all of them said class of 2000X. It was high quality print too. He said it was his gift of saying congratulations to our class of 2000X. Every student who knew him thanked him. But towards the end of the day, the principal said it was very immature and very irresponsible as some people fell down going up or down the stairs. They told us that they were suspended from graduating and would graduate without their class a month later. All of his friends were so upset because he helped a lot of them through studying and personal things like drug abuse and abuse issues. On top of that, everyone else knew no one used the stairs during lunch break, and no one actually fell. We were a tight group the year of 2000X. I think us, the students, and even the parents complained to the principal, but we saw the kid to attend to graduation and get his diploma. As an adult, I get why the principal was upset back then, but back then, that kid was cool. So, senior prank, essentially, gets the kid banned from walking at graduation. That's a bad look. So, that sucks. I don't think he was a bad kid. Some people just have an axe to grind. I can relate. I went to a rough high school. My friend Jeff was jumped by some guys in a rival gang, so the next day, he followed them, and as they were smoking in their car, he shot up their car and killed 2 people. Another guy, Breeze, got fired from his job at Burger King, and went back to rob it. Decided to shoot the manager who fired him in the head and killed him. Mike used to break into lockers at the YMCA, stole the keys to an Acura, drove it to spring break in Myrtle Beach, and got arrested racing. There was a kid who moved to my school in like 5th grade, and he was a little shit. He wasn't in my homeroom, but I had music class with him, and he was just annoying until the teacher kicked him out. I didn't have much interaction with him, but he never got much better. In high school, he disappeared, and the rumors were that he stole a car and got in a high-speed chase. I wasn't sure if that was true or not until a couple of years after high school. I saw him in the news. It turns out it was true, and the day after he got out, he killed his mom and then kidnapped and tried to kill a girl he knew, but she got away and told the police. We had a guy who was an absolute shitbag and addicted to cough syrup. He tried to bully me, but my brother literally beat the F out of him when the guy bragged about it to him, not knowing he was my bro. The guy was only there half the time, constantly got into fights and tried to start shit with everyone. The teachers just gave up on him after multiple attempts to reach out. His parents actively defended him too. The big thing that got him almost ran out of town was he got his freshman girl when he was like 20, addicted to cough syrup and meth, and then got her pregnant. After a couple of months, when he was tired of her not doing drugs with him, he pushed her down the stairs and kicked her stomach. The cops busted him and took him to jail, where he got his ass beat over and over again by some of the frequent flyers, while the guards looked away. Last I heard, he had only got about 5 years and was let out, but nothing beyond that. I'm a big proponent of prison reform and forgiveness, so I hope he got some help, but also lives in shame of what he did.